got a defense that struggled against the pass the way the Chargers have this season, it probably gets tempting to want to open things up. But you also got a young quarterback making his second start, first time on the road, prime time. How do you balance that temptation to open things up against that defense and also manage the situation you're in with your quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Chiefs do that to pretty much everybody. So you got to kind of take that out of the picture there. And most of the teams, and then on top of it, you have one of the best pass rushes in the National Football League. So you have to take all that into account as far as where are our best matchups, where do we have the best opportunity to go find success. So that's obviously a question that we have to answer every single week. But that we'll definitely take that into account. By no means are we going to let stats ignore the kind of talent that they have on that defense.
What impressed you most about what Tyson did on Sunday?
Just the fact that we were able to go out there and operate clean, and he went out and kept his poise like we expected him to do, and he did a really nice job of handling like we talk about in here all the time. It's not just the pass game; it's the run game that we put a lot on our quarterbacks to be able to do a lot, and he obviously went out there and showed he was able to do that.
When he was evaluating his performance yesterday about things he wants to do better, he said ball security in the pocket is something he needs to be more aware of. Where exactly, for somebody who didn't have any turnovers last week, where does that come into play for his preparation this week?
Yeah, he's just reflecting on, we always talk about two hands on the ball in the pocket at all times until you escape the dead zone. And so that showed up a couple times where he didn't do that. And so that was just an emphasis that we want to make sure that we emphasize with him this week.
The first drive of the second half, you guys kept that drive alive with a third down conversion on a little check down to Darrington. What was notable to you about just that sequence there and how it unfolded?
Yeah, that's the play that Darrington broke a tackle you're referring to, right? Yeah, no, it's just a progression. Protection was really good, so it enabled him to get kind of work across the board. Got the ball to Darrington with some space, and then Darrington did the rest. That was really an incredible play and a very important play for us to keep that drive alive.
What about that for a young quarterback and just seeing something that is pretty basic turn into something that's important?
Well, it was the same play that he hit Tyler on. Was that second drive of the game? I think it was, right? Same play. And so he's able to progress back to Tyler, and then they covered it again. They did a good job defensively covering it again, so we worked back across the board, and then now he worked all the way back to the running back. So, he did a nice job handling that.
Luke, how did you feel leaving the stadium Sunday, just seeing that it had worked, that you had an undrafted rookie quarterback making his starting debut, that all of these things had come into place, the game plan worked, and you guys had a runaway victory with all of them?
No, just winning is feels good. There's nothing personal in that self-satisfaction from me. That doesn't really cross my mind the way that I operate. Was excited that the guys got to celebrate together, have the opportunity to get the W, and hopefully we can continue to build off of that.
At what point did you realize that you could just kind of commit to the run and let that carry you to victory?
Well, I just thought the guys did a really nice job. Really right out the gate of, firing off the rock, setting the tone, the kind of game we wanted to play. And we just kind of leaned on that the rest of the way. Those guys did a really nice job. When you have to move guys around as much as we've had to do, I thought they handled the communication and the chemistry part of it really well this week. And anytime that you can, establish the line of scrimmage, you're going to have a much easier time doing everything that you do. And so that was really important part of what we wanted to do last week.
It seemed like you went to that 3rd and 5 on that first scoring drive where you hit Tyler coming across. What was most impressive about what Tyson did there? He worked his way out across from DJ and Moon and came back. He had anticipation. He also had some mess around him in the pocket. What did you find most impressive about that play in particular, getting to that first scoring drive?
Well, third down's really hard in this league, right? Third down and gold zone are people talk about that in 2 minutes, right? Those are the hardest parts of our game. And when you talk about from the quarterback position, when you have, we talk about it all the time, the no flinch mentality, to be able to sit in that pocket with everything kind of working on around you and be able to stand in the pocket and make the no flinch throw. That's always an impressive thing for any quarterback to do, let alone a young guy.
When you were at your previous place, how much emphasis did you put on Mac when Mac was here, in terms of not letting him ruin the game, and how does one go about doing that?
Yeah, no, that's he's an incredible player. He has been since he's been terrorizing me since I was a coach at Western Michigan. I think it was his senior year. I don't think we scored a point against them when he was at Buffalo. So he's an incredible player, and you have to account for him at all times. Run game, pass game. That's what's really unique about him, is that it's not just a pass game thing for him. You have to make sure that all parts of your plan, and then they have a couple other guys too that we have to worry about too. It's a really good defense.
It seemed like you ran more toss last week. Is that? I'm just curious, like what you liked about that. What's the advantage of doing that?
Well, again, each week you have different challenges of how to get on the edges, right? And the Raiders do a really good job of not letting you capture the edge usually, and so sometimes you have to use different pieces. I think you guys saw last week we had to use receivers, we had to use tight ends, we had to use backs, we had to have a few different ways to be able to get on the edge. It's important you make them defend the whole field. So even if teams are going to play wide edges and you're enticed to always want to run downhill a little bit more, you still have to threaten them in that way too. So I think it's just an important part, another element for us, a different way to be able to attack them and make them cover all, sideline to sideline.
Luke, we
With
talked in
Tyson's
the,
agent, we know the story from his perspective, we know his background and everything, but what about from a player development standpoint? What you guys did the last 6 months, you, Janoko, whoever else was involved, to get him from the player that you initially saw arrive here at Halas Hall to being a viable option in an NFL game?
Well, again, credit to Tyson for his work ethic, his determination. Since the day that he got here, he had a purpose to make sure that he was ready for whenever or if an opportunity ever came around. So that's all all the credit to him. And then, like you said, like just you mentioned it, it's Janoko spending the extra time with him. It's Omar doing the same thing. It's all those guys spending all that extra time with him, and not just him, but with Nate and PJ at the time before too. So making sure that everybody, not just the main guy that you think's in the game is ready to play, because you never know when that opportunity comes. And it's a credit to all those guys putting that work in. And then when it came to this moment, then now you're not like, oh gosh, we got to catch up.
We talked in the spring and the summer about Tyler Scott learning to play the position, learning the details of splits, alignments, all those things. As his role's expanded and he's got more confidence, what have you observed about kind of his evolution as a rookie at that position?
I think you nailed it with the comfort part of it. I think because it's just not just the being in the National Football League compared to college football. For him, it's really playing the wide receiver position that's like, he doesn't have as many reps as most people that come into this situation do. And so the natural talent that he has and the toughness that he has, that's starting to shine through, because now he's starting to understand what's going on, and then how to react whenever things don't necessarily go, they don't show up the way exactly that we talk about. That's a big part of this game, is being able to have that reaction, and he's starting to get more comfortable with doing that.
What does he have in his skill set that you trust as he goes forward?
No, he has a ton. I mean, but it all starts with his mentality, his work ethic, and the kind of teammate that he is. He's willing to do whatever it takes for his teammates, and when you have a bunch of guys that are doing that, you're going to find success.
Look, if Darnell Wright can't go, can you move Borum to that spot? Use Tevin? What are your options? Can Borum go into that spot?
Yeah, well, we've explored a bunch of different options over the last few weeks, because we've been kind of, in flux as far as what may happen through the week, and so bunch of different options that we have, and we're exploring them all, and so there's not real necessarily just one particular way we can go with that.
Is Tevin an option to tackle at either tackle, even though he's been moved around a lot? Maybe that's good. Maybe it makes him more versatile. But is he an option at either tackle spot in a potential scenario?
Yeah, Tevin's capable of doing whatever, all that stuff. Mentally, he can handle all that stuff, and physically, obviously, we know the talent that Tevin is. So Tevin's someone that is capable of moving wherever we would need him to move to.
Sure, you've heard the questions about Bajan's arm strength. Can he make all the throws? Does he have a strong arm? What is your thoughts on that?
Yes and yes, I guess, would be the answer to that. No, yeah, we have complete confidence in Tyson, and whatever that. Yeah, yes, I guess that's a simplified answer.
Got a cannon.
He's got a cannon.
As you evaluate the different strengths, in your quarterback room, I want to go back to that same 3rd and 5 play. You had
the first one, right? Yeah.
The first touchdown. You got to a point where, again, Tyson worked his way across, but then also that left side kind of left open. First of all, they didn't take Deontay in the flat. Justin may be more likely to hold on to the ball a little bit longer. He may get to that flat play, or he may just take off with the left sideline. He may actually score on that play. How do you balance what Tyson does well in terms of reading, getting that ball out and on time, and what Justin may likely do in terms of holding that thing, taking up the left sideline for a 50-yard touchdown?
It starts with being process driven. I guess that's where you start the whole thing off at, right? So you're teaching the quarterback timing, rhythm, footwork, that matches your progression. So when when you hit a certain timing in your footwork, if that number one progression is not there, it's time to go to two, and so on and so on. And so that's the starting point for it all, right? But in the end, when you play the game, right, the style of a player, the instincts of a player, they have to always take over, right? This is a player's game. Your job is to put them out there and give them the time, the space to go do what they do best. And so for every player, that's always different. That's not just the quarterback position as well. I mean, we watched I'm jumping on the Kansas City thing, but like Kelsey play, there's nobody that feels the game better than that guy, right? So I got to coach a guy at the previous spot that felt the game incredibly well at the quarterback position, at the wide receiver position. So that instinct part of it is always something you always want to lean on.
You tell Deontay to keep his instincts feet on the ground, take his instincts out to the field.
I mean, he took enough shots. Hopefully he's figuring out exactly what he wants to do next time. Thanks, guys.
Good morning. How you guys doing? How's everyone doing?
Good, how about you, man?
Outstanding. Doing outstanding. Go ahead.
Richard, you talked a few weeks ago about Cairo kind of being very diligent on working on his range and his leg strength. 54-yarder the other day, what did you see on that one, and obviously another one on his venture?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm really proud of him on that kick and proud of our operation. Scales, phenomenal, doing a phenomenal job snapping the ball. Trent has been doing an outstanding job holding, putting the ball down, making sure that it's angled with the laces where they need to be. And a lot of times he gets 12 o'clock laces from Scales. A lot of that goes unnoticed because at the end of the day, the kicker makes the kick and everybody says, wow, what a big kick by Cairo. And at that point in the game, with approximately 6 minutes left, and it's a 2-score game. It's a 15-point game. And for him to make that kick, for us to go up 18 points, a 3-score game at that point, the team was fired up because they know ball. They know situational football. And they know at that point it was going to be difficult for them to come back and win that game. So for him to do that in that moment was outstanding. He's done a lot of work this offseason, like I told you guys. I feel like every week we're talking about another big kick by this kid. That's a 50-yard kick, which is a good thing, but his leg strength is improved. His offseason work's paid off. The challenges that he's accepted during practice and the uncomfortable situations we put him in have paid off for him, and he's doing all the work along with the other three and the whole team. So I'm proud of those guys. So
Weather condition wise on that kick that was notable, or is it a pretty calm day from your vantage point?
yeah, I thought it was a pretty calm day. I mean, there were some gusts throughout the day, but I thought it was a pretty calm day. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just speaking of that, the stadium this week, it's a little unique in that it has a roof, but it's technically still open air. Does it basically still play like an indoor stadium?
It does for the most part, but you can get some drifts of wind in certain tunnels there. But it's nothing like Soldier. So yeah, it's nothing like Soldier. But for the most part, yeah, coaches, it plays indoor.
What's the coaching point on the onside kick when they just blast the ball off of Homer's helmet?
Yeah, first of all, it's a good volleyball serve by Homer. No, it's Homer's in a tough spot right there now because he's 10 yards away from the guy, and that is historically that's a tough kick. You try to do everything you can to recover the ball. So I'm happy we recovered the ball in that situation. Homer's going to either try to get out the way or hit it up like he did. And there's a really nice job by Cole going up, high pointing the ball. That guy, I know his brother's a good player, but that guy, he saved us right there. So that was outstanding by Cole getting that ball. And I'm really happy that the guys were able to seal the deal is what we talk about in Hands team.
So the idea is you just don't want to deflect it back toward them. You just need to keep the momentum going the other way.
Yeah, because what they're looking for is to hit that ball, and they're looking for a scrum, right? They're looking for some type of scrum and a loose ball and somebody to for their team to go back towards them. But yeah, yes, outstanding thought. Yeah.
How fast was your heart beating when the ball was up in the air?
I don't recall Larry, to be honest, but it's just like everything pauses, you know, like everything pauses, and then when you recover it, then you know, then you feel good about it. But definitely a moment of, oh, hopefully we get it here, you know, for sure.
What do you think has been the biggest impact Trent has had on the returning room, both the young guys and on you guys? Maybe your level of comfort now when you have him run out there.
Trent Taylor, yeah, I think the biggest thing he's brought to that position is dependability and stability, you know, and he's done a phenomenal job helping even the young guys, talking about tracking the football, learning punters, offsets, how they set up, what they're trying to do, hang to distance ratios, uh, getting square on the ball, and his study habits. I mean, it's been phenomenal what Trent has done uh, in his short time here. And obviously, I have a history with him because I was on the team when we drafted him, and hell, I think I was on the Bears when we went to the Senior Bowl, and he was at the Senior Bowl with us. So him, I think Peterman and maybe Feeney were on that team. But to your point, Trent he won the captain from just a short time in that Senior Bowl time. He got voted captain. So you already knew that the guy was a leader, and he's brought leadership and stability to our unit.
There was a blocked PAT. What was your diagnosis on that?
Thank you, by the way, because I won a bet.
What?
I won a bet because people bet me that was going to be the first question. So I won. So I'm good there. We won last week, and I won today.
Who made the
Protection. You can't tell who bet. You can't say who.
We've gotten onto a more interesting topic here. What else do you guys bet on?
Let me finish this question, and then I'll get to yours. All right. So on that issue, on that kick, we got to be better. Obviously, we got to be better. The protection and the technique wasn't what we wanted on that kick. And each opportunity we have to go out there, we got to make sure we do the technique, the proper technique, and that starts obviously with me, obviously. So we got to be better, and then the players have to take the technique, and the player has to be better on that one. And even on the 54-yarder, there was a little push. So what happens when anybody gets a little push, then the team starts salivating, right? The team starts salivating, thinking they could get one. We do it all the time because Sheen's box kicks, and we know when we're getting close and when we're about to block one. So we got to do a better job of being firm in there because everybody watches tape around the league just like we do. And we got to do a better job of being stout in protection. And we've corrected that, and I think it'll be, going forward, I think it'll be good.
So is it the players betting you, or is it the other coaches?
It was no players involved in that bet. There was no players involved in that bet.
There are league rules you gotta worry about here.
Yeah, no, yeah.
What'd you win?
Somebody has to do 10 push-ups. So I don't have to do the push-ups, so I won.
What do you think with Cairo Santos? What do you think it is about him that he was able to save his career? That you get a guy that at a certain point, and I know you weren't with him at this point, but you know him very well now. You get a guy that bounces around 4 or 5 teams in a few years and has injuries like that. A lot of times is it for him to be able to come back and have such a great second act of his career. Why do you think he has been able to do that?
I think it's a lot of different things. First of all, you have to give the player credit because the player is the one that's doing all of the tough work. He's doing the mental preparation. He's doing the physical preparation. But I also think it speaks to our operation and our unit and how closely knit those 3 guys are. They're like best friends, and Scales is probably the energy. They all got energy, but he's probably the leader, the charisma, to get everybody going type guy in that room. And I think Cairo feeds off of that. And then I also think when you have 3 guys that are close like that, and then you have a field goal unit that's close, and then it spreads to the team, in our culture, our whole field goal team and our whole locker room is really tight. And that's just one example of those 3 being tight and Cairo being comfortable and our team being tight and being able to battle through adversity. And they've gotten stronger. So he's just he's just going like this, and we just got to keep him going like that. Again, like I said last week, it was 6 weeks into it, 7 weeks into it. Like, we're still early in the season, so I tell the guys all the time, it's a week-to-week league. All right, it's a play-to-play league, so we got to be better on our next attempt, and that's what we're focusing on right now. But that kid deserves a ton of credit, and we just got to keep him going like this.
What have you seen from the Chargers so far this season in their return game, punt and kick?
Yeah, I think again, I think Coach Ficken does a great job with those guys. He always has throughout his time there. I see an explosive returner at number 12, the Davis kid. He is lightning in a bottle. And then I see good personnel. I think they have good guys there. They always had good guys blocking there. They've always had good units. But I see a unit that we're gonna have to bring our A game, and we have to be up for the challenge. And we're excited as hell to play them on Sunday night football. So it'll be a good one. It's what we live for.
How has Coach Flus kind of evolved this defense over the course of this season and really put a stamp on what's been a turnaround recently?
Yeah, you know, for me, just being with him all those years in Indy, it kind of feels like the same. You know, again, it's about the execution of the call. So, you know, obviously his intensity, the way he calls it in the game, he's got a great feel for, you know, in-game calling it. So it's been really good for us.
How do you all work through the process of starting to use linebackers or nickels more in some of those pressures in terms of helping out the front four and then putting that onus on the back end? It seemed like earlier in the season you guys were kind of dropping back, trying to help out the back end and leaving the front alone. Now you've switched, and that seems to coincide with the improvement.
Yeah, to be honest with you, it's kind of a week-to-week thing. You know, some weeks are better for that than others. So again, I think it goes to a game-by-game basis how we're going to utilize those assets.
Tremaine has kind of come on the last couple of weeks. Just talk about how he's kind of gotten more comfortable in the defense.
Yeah, you know, for Tremaine, you know, he missed most of training camp. Just, you know, played a little bit in the preseason. So, you know, obviously the more games he plays, the more comfortable he is with the defense. And you can really see it. He's playing fast, physical. So I really like where he's at right now.
TJ only had 2 total tackles against the Raiders, but what kind of impact did he actually have in that game?
You know, sometimes you can't always go by the numbers. TJ was all over the field. You know, sometimes the ball just doesn't go your way. TJ was really effective, you know, was almost 100% on his assignments. So although he didn't have the production, he played a really good game.
The run defense has done like a 180 since the beginning of the season. What's been the difference?
You know, it starts up front. Just like an offense where it starts up front for the defense, it starts up front with the defensive line. Those guys have done a tremendous job. Billings, Double J, those guys have really done a good job. You know, really cleans it up for us on the second level when those guys are holding their gaps. So, you know, I give a lot of credit to the defensive line and the job they've been doing.
Do you see the growth of this defense as continued progress is not a coincidence at this point?
Yeah, no, it's exciting. Again, sometimes, you know, it takes a little bit, and you can really see the defense the last few weeks. You know, we're playing fast, we're playing physical, and again, it's not about the call; it's about the execution. So it's not like we're inventing new calls or anything. It's the same defense we played last year. You know, we're just executing better, and part of that too is I think guys are playing more. You know, they're more comfortable in the system.
I know Eckler doesn't have the production right now to reflect how good of a player he is because he's coming off injury, but what kind of challenge does he present in both the run and pass game?
Yeah, so I laugh because we played against the Chargers in 2019. We opened up against him, and you know he was a little bit of an unknown at that point, and he's a good player. You know, he had 107 receptions last year in the pass game, so he's an effective guy out of the backfield. And the thing about Eckler, he's a strong runner. So you know you got to really tackle this guy. You got to bring your feet when you tackle him because you know defenders will bounce off him if you don't bring your feet. So you know, really good player in the run game. You know, very effective in the pass game. So we got our hands full with him.
Is there a point of emphasis for linebackers against a guy like Herbert? Does he present anything that you have to make, you know, tell your guys to be particularly aware of?
Yeah, so he's got one of the strongest arms in the league. So, you know, he can make all the throws, you know, in cuts, balls on the sideline. I mean, he can make every throw there is. And also, he's athletic. So, you know, he presents a lot of problems in that, you know, he can make every throw, and then, you know, he can scramble, and he can throw when he scrambles really effectively, and he's accurate. So, you know, it's the first time I've gone against him, he's a really good player.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.